Everybody told me that once I got my CDL that I will have options. The world is my oyster. I just have to crack that some gun open, right? But you got to have the right tools for the job. I tried to go local. Everybody told me no. Pepsi told me no. I heard, call me back in a year. We chose another candidate, or, we don't have any openings in your area. I even had one trash company that told me, oh, you don't have the 2 years that we're looking for, but, we have a pickup truck that's towing a trailer. It's not a CDL position, but once you hold your CDL for 2 years, I felt like they were playing me with that. Well, I'm going to hold my CDL for 2 years, get no CDL experience, and then all of a sudden be able to hop inside of your truck. I was like, yeah, who do you think is stupid? Not this guy, all right? But the only company that gave me a shot was Maverick. Now, granted, I'm a regional driver and I'm not local. And I did try to go local before I came over to Maverick. Now, I'm about to blow your mind with some statistics. Stand by and stay tuned.
I came out of smoke with a flame in my chest. Southwest sun sitting heavy on my neck. Every mile I rode carved the line in the map. Now the whole damn state know the legend is back.
But before we get into the statistics of it, right? I went all the way through the interview process with Pepsi. Pepsi I thought would be like a shoo-in because they accept people fresh out of CDL school. Yes, there are local companies that will accept you fresh out of CDL school. A lot of these companies are hard physical labor, right? Pepsi, you're getting out the truck. You're getting your, I want to say bill of ladings. I'm not sure what they call them. I obviously don't work for the company, but it looks like a long list of receipts from what I've seen. You make sure they're matching up with all of your product. You're getting those products on the jack. Some of these companies, you have to shelve it yourself. You got to, change it around yourself, put it up yourself. Depending on where you're dropping at, for a gas station versus dropping off at like a grocery store, where they have stockers that are paid specifically to stock at these grocery stores. They're not employed by the grocery store, right? But yes, I waited for like 2-3 weeks, counting down time until I heard anything back, and it was like, hey, we're sorry, but we have to inform you that we've chose somebody else. So I'm going to blow your mind with some statistics here. So they tell you, grab your CDL, right? Opportunities are going to open up for you. What they don't tell you is that the local gig, if you're interested in a local gig, is the hardest gig to get. There's such a turnaround for people that's doing over the road and regional that is easy. They're always trying to fill these positions. Local, once people grab it, typically they don't relinquish that position. So it's really, you're going to be on like waiting list, waiting to hear back from companies. And then competition is stiff. You know what I mean? So you really have to make sure your resume is built up. So listen to this. If you're a brand new driver, if you're about to get into the process of getting your CDL, listen to this. Do not get your CDL without taking each exam back to back to back, right? Or the next day, or however you plan on doing it. Do your, the brakes and all that other stuff, the regular schmegler test. Then go ahead and get your tanker endorsement, and go ahead and do the hazmat right after that. When you get that CDL, make sure your resume is already stacked before you go for the experience portion of it. And do your 1 year, 2 years with a company, however you plan on entering into the industry. why do you want to come in with your endorsements already, right? Because I made the mistake of not coming in with my endorsements. I started trying to get them suckers after the fact. Now I'm going to read these off to you, so be patient with me. Your average new CDL driver, as far as getting that local position, you have a 10 to 20% chance of landing that position without any endorsements whatsoever. You get your endorsements, you go up from a 20 to a 30% chance. You've increased it by just that much of landing that local position by about 10%, right? New CDL driver willing to do labor and heavy work, you've got about a 40 to 50% chance. I fell out on the other side of that 50% apparently. New CDL driver in a major metro area, 30 to 40% chance of landing that local position. I live next to a major metroplex. Whatever reason, I fell on the other side of that. So your odds depend on location, endorsements, your willingness to do physical work. Obviously, I'm very willing to do physical work. I'm a flatbedder. And then whatever the turnover is in your area. Again, right? It's just like when you're applying for insurance. You want to check in at month 4 to see if you can get a cheaper rate somewhere else, right? With a whole nother company, because you're going to renew every 6 months. You might have to ask again and again, because some of these jobs have a very high turnover rate. And we're going to get into the types of CDL, local CDL positions here, and you'll understand why some of them have as high of a turnover rate as they do. So over the road, right, that's going to be the entry point into the trucking industry for about 75 to 80% of drivers. Escaping that is going to be the hard part, because what happens is local drivers tend to stay for 10 to 20 years depending on what they have going on. You know, companies want experience, they need experience, they love experience. They want to make sure that you're not going to be out there messing up their equipment. They want to make sure that you know how to deal with shippers and receivers. They want to make sure that you know how to deal with the type of freight that you'll be hauling. You know, different freight acts certain ways, right? They move certain ways. They weigh a certain amount. They, you know, you go to take the corners. If you're driving a tanker, you've got that whole like sloshing back and forth that you have to be aware of. You don't want to go around a curve and you're going around the curve a little too fast, or what you think you could normally do on a flatbed, and then that whatever liquid you got hits the side of that trailer, and then you going and tumbling into the ditch. So with the experience and you know, new versus being experienced, then you start to worry about the insurance requirements. A lot of these local positions are very small fleets. The fleets are a lot smaller than your OTR companies, so they're not going to be as willing to dish out and pay the higher amount in insurance because you're so new. Now, what are the different types of excuse me, what are the different types of local positions? So you have your food and beverage, like you've already heard me mention Pepsi, but then you got Coke, and you've got what is that, US Foods and Cisco. You know, that's all food and beverage. That's going to be the hard work. You're going to be moving these boxes and pallets on these pallet jacks, getting out there and you know, leaving it wherever the workers at the establishment want you to leave it at. Sometimes you're going to be having to stock it yourself. You've got your LTL is less than truckload. That's when you have, you know, shippers that are paying for a portion of the trailer. You're not really using like a 53-foot or a 48-foot trailer at that point. And it's multiple stops, right? That's going to be your LTL position. You know, you have your fuel. You do have your tankers. Some tankers are not hazmat, right? You have tankers that are doing milk. You have tankers that are doing water. You have tankers that are going down through restaurants and doing the grease traps. Sometimes you have the straight trucks. You see them out there doing the propane tanks and stuff like that. You have your waste management. I've brought up waste management, but waste management is just like the company waste management. What else do you have? Like Republic Services, you know, the people that you see dealing with your garbage. They have your front things, your little side things that bring it up over the side when they pull up in front of your house or the apartment complex. They take the forks and, you know, and then you have the ones that drop off the actual like dumpsters. Those are all 3 different positions, and they're ranked differently and they pay differently as well. Trust me, I've applied for all 3 positions, right, and was still told no. You have your ready mix and your dump trucks. That's going to be more so a seasonal thing. You want to be careful with that. Similar to flatbed. Flatbed can pick up and when construction starts picking back up. You have your delivery companies, you know, your UPS, your USPS, your FedEx. Those are going to be your doubles and triples, you know. That's probably something smart for you to get. You see a lot of companies out here with doubles and triples too, even like Saya. What else? There's something else. I don't know why the heck my nose is itching. There's something else. Oh, the ones, when you go up to the East Coast, you see like the 53-foot trailers that are doubles. I don't know how anybody does it. I'm not interested in doing that, but if that's something that you're interested in doing, go ahead and look it up and look into it. Get that doubles and triples endorsement. All right, and then you have your municipal jobs. When I first went into getting my CDL, somebody wanted to hook me up with a municipal job. It wasn't paying enough, in my opinion. I forget what it was. It was something works, public works or whatever. And he was like, hey, don't apply if you're not willing to get dirty. Obviously, I'm more than willing to get dirty. I get rusted up like a mother out here with these daggone chains and you know, dust flying everywhere, to where I could take a wipe and just wipe my face and just like mud on a wipe. So yeah, you also have the option of your local town, whatever they need CDL drivers for. So who hires locally? You have Pepsi, you have Coke, you have Cisco, you have PFG. Who hires locally, hires new drivers is what I should have said. Amazon, concrete companies, Amazon specifically, DSP. You know, you have your concrete companies. You want to look heavily into those. Dump trucks, you want to look heavily into those as well. And then you have your like septic and vacuum trucks. The one that I was talking about that does the grease traps, the oil traps, and the local restaurants, they wanted experience, which is fine. And then of course your city and county jobs. Sometimes you can even get your CDL through your city or your county, and they'll pay for it, but then they're gonna make it to where you can only use it with them. Sometimes. I don't know about every place, but I know of one place in particular, which I shall not name. But yes, I'm really grateful for my job for giving me that shot when they really didn't have to. And, you know, it wasn't local, you know, but I'm bringing in the bacon and I'm making the sacrifices for my family, and I really thoroughly enjoy my company too. So it's not like, hey, flatbed, come on, back it in there. That freight shaker doing all that shaking while you're coming back. He's old school. He still got the beep. Barely any of us be out here beeping anymore. But yes, that should be it. I'm going to continue with the little life of the flatbedder thing at the end of this. Just wanted to make sure that I stuck at the beginning what matters for the video. And if you want to stick around after that, go ahead and see what my adventures are like. If not, at least give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe, whatever is placed on your heart. Outside of that, you have now ridden with Still Horse. I would say peace, but if y'all stick around, y'all gonna see me anyway. I am the Still Horse, the legend of the Southwest. If you mention my name, don't mention the Khan without the quest of the Genghis. I'm on the level of Ladra and if you don't know who they are, then I pity you, fool. Welcome to Carthage, Texas. That's where we're starting our little bit of a adventure out this week. I'm over here getting some oriented strand board that's on the way to Stillwater, Oklahoma. So yes, I'm going back to Oklahoma. Let's get it. I'll catch you guys. All right, I just finished my cleaning routine, so now it's time for me to relax for the night. Everything's wiped off, kind of mopped-ish, right? You can't really do that. And then vacuumed with my little handheld vacuum cleaner. As you see, it's been pretty rainy all day. I am currently in Lawton, Oklahoma. It's been rainy and windy, like very windy. Carthage, Texas. Started out in Carthage, Texas. Picked up that lumber load out of Carthage, the oriented strand board. Took that up to, where's Pistol Pete from? No, not his town. Picked it up or dropped it off right outside of his town. The old lawman, he's now like the mascot of Oklahoma State or something. And went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, dropped that one off. Double back down to Lawton, and then tomorrow I'm going to pick up some paper rolls. I thought I was going to be at a Love's tonight. This is fair warning for anybody that has not been on the road yet, thinking about coming out on the road. Check what Love's you're going to. Check what parking spaces they have, the number of parking spaces, because some of those things is like impossible to drive through. It's like, you really invented this for trucks? I need to get to where y'all can see me in the light. Y'all really invented this for trucks? I know for a fact you didn't think that you were going to fit trucks through this lot. Love's. I'm not at a Love's right now. Wanted to be. But the issue was the angle that I needed to back into the space I wasn't going to be able to get, and the guy didn't pull up from the pump. He just walked inside, and I didn't have the patience to sit there and wait, so I just came to where I'm at now, which has a diner attached to it, which was cool because I ate. A little uncomfortable in there, but I ate nonetheless. They were cool people though. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna kill this gnat and get back to the daily grind. Alright, so I'm in Lawton, Oklahoma. I have to do a pre-trip. I'm gonna catch y'all up real quick. So I was at that Love's in Tennessee. That's why I started at. They had people that was coming there. They was panhandling. They knock on your door. Y'all know I like to sit up there and look out my windshield, the front of the truck sometimes. And they spot me, and they got the nerve to be like, yo, roll your window down, you know. Like, no, who y'all been talking to? You think you can intimidate people to roll their windows down? It ain't me. But anyway, I have to do a pre-trip now. And even before that, right, the Love's that I went to yesterday, some of these Love's, they're really, really hard to maneuver through and like hard to park. So I was like, screw that. Let me come to this other one that I know exists. Not a Love's, but just like a regular mom and pop thing. Look, gravel. Ain't nothing going on really like that. There's a diner, so you can eat breakfast. There's like there's a gas station there. That's where the bathroom's at. And there's some mechanic shop or something like that. But now you got this lady that's out here yelling at everybody that she sees. And I'm trying to do this pre-trip, and I don't want her running up after me and like chasing me, so I got y'all on camera. I don't even want to like open up the hood. I'm gonna do this light test real quick. So I like to check in here Alright, she's in close, damn it. You know, always check the brakes and all that other stuff. There's no like oil leaking out the wheel hubs. We go around the other side. It's on the right. That's full. We're good here. It doesn't look like nothing's clogged. I'm gonna get this oil. Right here. Right here. Put my hood down real quick, but I'll be back. All right. Currently over here getting live loaded. With paper rolls. And once I'm done getting live loaded with those paper rolls, watch this, he's coming on my truck now. That's what it feels like when you're getting loaded with these heavy old paper rolls here. But yep, finally loaded. Just got to do the last little bit of stuff, make sure my straps are tight, get this road worthy, and I'm rolling, baby. Yeah. So instead of being lazy and taking the easy route, I decided to drag the canvas tarp over near this forklift over here and try to see if I could use the forklift as a windbreak. And I say I was quite successful at that.
I'm gonna get no problem on the side of